Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Ian, and welcome to My Life in Audio Engineering, where I talk about local creatives, positive thinking, and everything in between. I got a special guest, Andrew Sanchez. He's a writer / musician.
That's me. Hello. I'm Andrew. Andrew-Nathain. That's my first name.
Word. And tell them about yourself.
Like you said, I'm a writer and singer-songwriter. I recently published a book. I'm forgetting the title of my own book. A Song Abloom. It's on Amazon if you want it. Yeah, I do. I'm just a writer.
Cool. And
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna be putting the link of his book on my YouTube channel. So if you guys want to check that out, feel free to do that. Support your local talent. And,
Hell yeah.
I'm just gonna start out with the first question. You
Sure.
ready, man? You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Before you do that, let's hear a sick beat on that Novation Launchpad.
Okay. I've had about 3 minutes of experience with this, and we'll just throw some stuff on here. Okay. You have any tips?
Yeah, tips actually. So that the left two rows.
Okay.
Those are drums, and then everything from the purple all the way up to the green is just like instrumental stuff.
All right. Let's just see what happens. Okay.
You got your snares.
Starting to sound a little
EDM-ish.
kinda. Ooh, this is dirty. Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that.
It's too EDM, huh?
Too much.
You gotta have those vocal samples. It's not a current pop hit if it's not.
Turn this off. Ooh, I'm starting to feel like I'm on an adventure. You know what I'm talking about? Like a video game, you're just opening up. It's the very beginning.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's like the first stage, right?
That caught me off guard.
DJ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
DJ.
Oh, okay. I see what's happening here.
That James Brown.
Watch it now.
Oh, okay.
All right, that's cool. So what I like to do is have my guests mess around with music,
Oh yeah.
and I think it's a fun time. It kind of just breaks the ice, right?
Oh yeah. Definitely.
And if you can actually kill the snare in the
Hey, I was feeling it.
feeling it too, but we have a show to do, so.
Yeah.
All right, so first question, man. How'd you get started as a musician and ultimately a writer as well?
I don't even know which one came first. I picked up the clarinet. Well, the clarinet was kind of put on to me by my dad. My uncle had a clarinet, gave it to my dad, and told him I should play it. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
But he was right, I guess, because I picked it up, and from there, I was reluctant. I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to play clarinet. It's so lame, blah, blah. I got to carry it around. But then I started playing it, and when I started learning about music, all of a sudden, it was like this whole new world where, something I had been judgmental about. Of course, I'd listened to music, but seeing people in music was just like one of those things I didn't care about. And then all of a sudden I did, and it wasn't like I cared a little. It was just like, okay, this is dope,
But what were your preconceived notions about musicians as far as before starting out as a musician?
I don't think it was necessarily musicians in general. I think just the whole the band nerd kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's what you mean by musicians, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like musicians in general, I didn't really have an opinion about. Because it wasn't something that I really thought about at that age. I was like 11 years old,
Right.
I think maybe I had an opinion on people who play guitar, which is cool.
Yeah.
Because my mom played guitar. But when I was given a clarinet, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be lame. But then I get into it, and it's just so much more, than just an instrument. There's everything that goes on with, especially when something is orchestrated, you have your entire band, and
Yeah, definitely.
And I think maybe what also got me into it was the sense of family. you know, because like my dad was in the military. There was a lot of like being away from my parents. So when I was in band, it was like having 35 siblings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the camaraderie, right?
Yeah, definitely. And then, so I think that's what got me into that got me into being in that atmosphere. But playing clarinet I wasn't even 11. I was 9.
Nice.
Yeah, I was 9 years old.
Started early, man.
I started early. Yeah, I was 4th grade.
That's cool.
And after being in 1 year, I was like, okay, I'll do it again next year. I'll do it again next year. I'll do it again next year. And next thing I know, I'm a senior in high school still playing clarinet, you know?
That's insane, man.
And and it went by so fast. And I didn't really realize how integrated like I was in like music was, you know, with me. But as far as writing goes, okay, so I started playing clarinet when I was 9. When I was 11, I had written my first poem.
Yeah.
And I didn't really think anything of it. It was I just wrote it. I don't know why. I just felt like I needed to write something down. And when I did, I showed it to a friend of mine. And he said, hey, can I use this poem? And, you know, can I say that I wrote it? And of course, looking back, I'm like, you're crazy. Why would you ask me to let you do that, you know?
Yeah,
but at the time,
exactly.
I was 11. I didn't care. I was like, yeah, sure. And he had like given it to a girl, and then she like fell in love with him, quote unquote, with my poem, you know. And then like the school like newsletter thing like had published it with his name on there, and like, oh, a poem written by blah blah blah. And at that point, I was like,
dude.
yeah, that's like 100% pure plagiarism. Yeah. But you know, and he literally asked me if he could do that, and I did say yes. You know, okay. But I was 11, and at first I didn't care, and then when I saw that happening, I was like, oh, people like it. You know, I was like, I didn't know like that people could like what I'm writing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then seeing that reaction, I think from there, oh, what's that? Is that?
Huh? Not sure. We are experiencing technical difficulties, so I will definitely probably cut right here.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna keep it rolling.
Yeah, for sure. Did I do something? Hello? Testing?
Keep talking.
Testing. Ooh. Did I accidentally shut this off?
You might have.
I might have, yeah.
Yeah.
Might have been fidgeting.
Yeah, that's alright. Make sure it's all the way plugged in the bottom, too. Okay,
I think we're good.
What the heck is going on?
I was like, did I do that?
Oh, man. Okay, so go back to where you're at.
What was I saying?
You were talking about you gave your poem to a friend.
Oh, yeah. So I think from there, I saw something in writing. And that same year, a teacher of mine, she was my English teacher. Her name was Ms. Rankin at Farb Middle School.
Hey, name dropping over there.
No, hey, because man, she made a big impact on me with a small thing, you know. She told me one day like, you're either going to become a rapper or an amazing writer. And
I like how she said rapper.
Yeah, because I think at the time I was reading something that I'd written to the class, and I guess I must have been reading it really fast or with rhythm or something, but she said that she could see me being a rapper or an amazing writer. She saw it in me. And maybe she was being sarcastic, but it didn't seem like that to me, you know what I mean? And that kind of like having someone say that they see something in me, you know, and I was young, you know, and like, I don't want to say like I have issues with my parents or anything, but like they were busy, you know?
Yeah.
So having an adult say something like that kind of really left an impact. And then from then on, it was just music and writing, you know, poetry, song lyrics, you know. And I didn't pick up guitar until after I'd graduated high school. I picked up the oud first, which was after. The story about the oud. Okay, the reason why I picked up the oud was because Mark, my friend, he had an oud.
Yeah.
And I was doing taxes at the time. I was a tax preparer.
What?
Yeah.
I did not know this about you.
Yeah, I was a tax preparer.
Where were you working at?
Jackson Hewitt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and there was one day.
Man.
Yeah, thanks. It's kind of cool.
You still do it?
No. I mean, like, I still do people's taxes. Like, ever since then, people come to me for tax help.
Oh,
So like
okay.
I'll come over and be like, oh yeah, let me fill out this form for you.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't even like charge them. It's just a thing that's been going on ever since.
So do you like charge for as far as like let's say you have a small business and
Oh yeah, if like a business wanted to like me to do their taxes, then of course I would charge them.
I'm gonna see you, dude. 'Cause
Alright.
I am gonna start a business. Dude.
Okay, for sure.
I actually started one before.
Oh,
Not
yeah?
to make it about me, but you know.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, I started one before. I'm gonna dissolve it. I'm gonna start something else with media and digital assets.
Oh hell yeah.
So, yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
I
didn't
could
know
be your
that,
tax
man.
guy.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's so weird because I didn't think
Making connections.
Right. But yeah, so when I was
Yeah.
doing taxes, I had a shift. I was supposed to be 9 to 2. Right? So I came in at 9. And then around 1 o'clock, the owner of like the chain that I was working for.
Yeah.
She calls and she's like, "Hey, your manager's not going to be able to come in. I had her go to this other location. I need you to stay until closing."
Okay.
So closing was at 9, you know. So I was there for 12 hours. But then at 8:45,
That's brutal.
yeah, 8:45 somebody walked in,
Yeah.
you know, and our rule is if they walk in before you close, you help them. And then she had the most complicated tax return I'd seen in my entire life, right? So at the end,
I'm already cringing right now, dude.
yeah,
Just thinking about
and so I was
the
there,
whole
like,
work.
we're supposed to close at 9,
Yeah.
I was there till like 10:30. So I'm there from 9 to 10:30, and when I left, I realized like
Yeah.
the entire 12 hours before she walked in, I was doing nothing, you know, because I can't use a computer for anything else. I was like, I need something that'll like entertain me, something that I would enjoy. So I ended up buying an ook, so I could bring that in. On days where like nobody's coming in, I got 12 hours of just nothingness. Like I can't use my phone. I can't, you know.
Why can't you use your phone?
Well, I mean, at the time, what was it? It was like 2010,
2010.
like January 2010.
Okay.
You know, and I feel like now phones are much more integrated into like our everyday than it was in 2010. I mean, 2010 was still pretty bad, but
Yeah,
you know, like
yeah.
they didn't want us using our phones. I couldn't. This is how you know this was old. I wasn't allowed to use MySpace. That was a rule,
MySpace.
a specific rule. You're not allowed to go on MySpace, and so yeah,
Yeah.
I bought an ook so I wouldn't go crazy, you know. And then I learned as much as I could on the ook, but it wasn't until I picked up the guitar. My second guitar, my first guitar broke because my cousin Aníbal, I accidentally dropped him on my guitar.
You dropped him on your guitar.
On my guitar.
What?
Yeah, it's a weird story. We were wrestling, I picked him up, I dropped him right on top of my first guitar. Never even learned how to play it yet.
Trying to copy some shit on WWE.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. We were trying to be innovators. We're trying to invent some shit. But yeah, so my second guitar was a gift. So I just started learning chords. I just started messing around with like scales and picking.
Yeah.
And
That you had a book, or you went online to look up the chords?
I went online. Yeah, I went online. I looked up a bunch of chords, and I just kind of went through them all. And then I would just sort of, kind of, get songs that I written on the ook, move it over to the guitar, transpose, and see how that sounded, you know. And then
Yeah.
I think guitars. I mean, it's my home now, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
yeah.
I respect the ook so much because it was like a really, really important part of my journey in like music. You know, just
Yeah.
as like with the clarinet, but I don't play the clarinet anymore. You know, I don't play.
You own a clarinet still, or?
I do actually. I'm
Yeah.
just missing a mouthpiece. My sister has my clarinet. I haven't played it in years though.
I was gonna say, why don't you show us a little something?
Yeah. Well, I don't even have the mouthpiece, and my sister has it. And I'd
that's
probably
okay.
blow
Yeah.
my lip out trying to play it. Like it's
I
just.
don't know. I don't even know how you even play that, dude.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's not hard. It's
Yeah.
just it's a lot of like practice, especially like the mouth part of it. You know.
Yeah. It's not like easy like playing a recorder or something. You just like
No,
blowing it. There's
no.
a technique, right?
Yeah, there is like a little,
Okay.
there's a technique because otherwise you'll squeak. And if you haven't like played, like for me, I haven't played in a long time. And if I play for like 20 minutes, my bottle lip will swell up.
Oh
Like,
my god.
yeah,
That's
it's-
a lot of dedication.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
man.
and then I'll have like these bite marks like
Yeah.
right here, or was it, I don't even remember. I'll just have bite. It's the inner part of my lip. But yeah. So I don't think I ever considered myself a musician. Even while I was playing clarinet, while I was playing ook.
Yeah.
I didn't consider myself to be a musician until I had picked up a guitar, because there was a whole new level of like immersiveness.
Yeah.
When I
Plus you
picked
can
it up.
sing, right?
Yeah, and I do sing. Yeah, so But when I picked up the guitar, like it was like I unlocked something like in the back of my head. Not like I was really good at the guitar. It was just like something internally, you know, that connected me more to my music. And at that point, I feel like I was a musician, you know. And then the writing thing, I've just been writing forever, man. Ever since like my first poem. It's weird because a lot of people ask me why I write or what I write about, but I feel like if I don't write, I can't sleep, I can't eat. It's one of those things where like if I have something in my head, or if I'm like feeling a certain way, what I tell people is like I give those thoughts and those feelings a place to live, because I don't need them to live in me, you know. And if I give them a home, I can always visit them whenever I want. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like otherwise,
that's sick, man.
Yeah, thanks. It's just like because you carry them with you, and they kind of like torment you in a way, you know. Like you're just constantly on it, so you got to like give it a home, just let it go, let it live, and you come back to whenever you need to.
Yeah, exactly, man. I can totally attest to a lot of those things for sure.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people who are like in like the creative sort of like, I don't want to say field, but like that mindset of wanting to create something from nothing, you know. Like a lot of people can relate to each other in that sense.
And giving, you know, that piece a home somewhere.
Yeah.
Not keeping it inside.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure, man.
Otherwise, you just
I totally get that.
You just burst, you know.
Yep. Definitely, man. That's cool, man. Hearing about that.
Thanks. Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to the next question. You ready
Sure.
for this?
I don't know. Let's go.
All right. So, what special unrelated talent do you have that you'd like to share with the viewers and listeners?
Unrelated talent.
Yeah.
I can solve a Rubik's Cube.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I think I have one. Yeah, it's right there on my bed. Should I grab it? Let me grab it.
How long does it take for you to solve a Rubik's Cube?
I think my average.
Here, let me scramble it up, dude.
Sure, yeah. Here. I think my average is about a minute. My fastest. Oh man, this was when I was at City College, and I would just walk around solving it constantly. I bought a speed cube and everything, lubricated it and everything.
That's probably easy for you, but
I mean, it's mixed up enough.
Yeah.
But my fastest is probably 32 seconds. It was kind of a fluke.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I think my fastest without like one of the steps being conveniently solved already was probably 37 seconds.
Jeez, so you're a cuber then?
Yeah, kind of low key. Yeah.
I watched a video or a few videos on YouTube about this. I thought it was pretty interesting. I went ahead and actually bought a Rubik's Cube too. Mm-hmm. I haven't figured out how to solve it.
Yeah, it takes a minute.
Just like stopped, you know.
Yeah, and it kind of like ties in with like when I was in college. Like I was telling you earlier, with logic is sort of like the thing that I was really into, and it's really what the cube is. It's a lot of if this then that. Yeah. You know, it's about recognizing conditions, being able to recreate conditions, and then knowing what to do in those conditions. Wow. You know, I mean, that's like really all it is. Here, I'm gonna solve it.
Yeah, man. You guys ready for this, right?
I'll mix up a little bit.
Make sure you kind of get in the line of sight of the camera.
I'm not like super fast anymore, but
yeah.
All right, so here we go. We can say.
Oh my god, dude! I
kind of like
see it. Oh. This is awesome, man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of like I know a lot of people know what the kendama is, and
What's
that like ball on a stick thing. You like try to toss it up and catch it.
Yeah.
When that came back, I was like, wow, that's like the Rubik's Cube. When the Rubik's Cube came back, I don't know where, you know.
I don't know. I never really thought the kendama was like comparable to the Rubik's Cube.
Oh yeah, definitely not. Like, you know?
as far as like being able to do that, I think more people could do that than actually solve the Rubik's Cube, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see, where am I at?
Jeez, this is crazy. I should do more of these, you know? One guy, actually, I don't know if you ever saw the other episode, but
there it is.
Damn. Actually, show the camera real quick.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
There it is.
That is crazy, dude.
I don't know. That was probably a minute 10, something like that. We'll just say 22 seconds.
22 seconds. You heard it here, folks.
You heard it here.
I'm gonna cut out
record breaking. No, I think the record is like 7 seconds, 6 seconds.
I think I've seen that one. Yeah.
Crazy.
That is insane, dude. And this other dude, he actually went on one of those like talent shows on
Mhm.
TV, right?
Yeah.
I think he did it blindfolded.
Yeah. I see
Asian
someone do
kid.
2 blindfolded.
Yeah.
2 cubes blindfolded. Like,
No, man. I'm sorry.
like
That's too
that's
hard.
like. Can you imagine what it's like playing against him in chess? Chess. Because like
Yeah.
being able to solve a Rubik's cube blindfolded means you're doing a lot of planning. That's like a million steps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I play against him in chess, they probably beat me before I pick up a piece.
But how would you do it like blindfolded though if you can't even see the pieces though?
I mean, I would imagine that like, because there are a couple like rules with the Rubik's cube. Like one, the center pieces don't move, so
Of
you know,
course, yeah,
so you know what
yeah.
side is what. And I'm pretty sure they just kind of like plan out, you know, like the first layer and think, okay, if I do this, then this piece is gonna end up here.
Yeah.
So then I'll do this. I mean, but that's a lot of memory, dude. I mean, I can imagine it,
It's insane.
but not really. That's too crazy for me. Like I can't even like as far as like planning goes for me, like I can cook a meal. Like I need these ingredients. That's it. I can't solve a Rubik's cube blindfolded. Like that's too much. I can't. I mean, you know what?
Hey,
now that I
never
think
say
about it-
never, man.
Yeah, that's true. I never know.
Just try it out,
But-
man. Try it
but-
out. We'll get you on the show again, and we'll definitely have
Do
you
it blindfolded?
Yeah, dude. We'll turn this into a talent
A talent show?
Yeah.
Oh man, just get people like, and every time you get them, you challenge them to learn something new.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Wow, you're just giving me ideas right now. Like,
But blindfolded Rubik's cube, that sounds difficult, man. That's too much memory.
all right.
What was
that,
it?
That was freaking.
Where were we?
We're talking about special talents.
Right.
Demonstrated that you can solve a Rubik's cube,
Yeah,
which
you're
I
right.
think that's freaking amazing.
Thank you.
I'm gonna
Thank
pick
you.
it up again and try to learn it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so you ready for the next one?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what restraints did you have when initially starting out with writing or both, being a musician as well? And what was your current struggles and what are you currently dealing with right now?
Let's see. Can you hear my mom?
Yeah, that's all right.
I think early on, and I guess this is kind of an everyday thing, like throughout, you know, just trying to be, especially if you're writing poetry, you know, I feel like there's a lot of like stigma around that, you know, like you're either a hipster wearing a fedora or you're like a middle-aged woman, and like that's what I see like people expecting poets to look like, you know what I mean? And
Even nowadays, when there's like a lot of Instagrams and people.
Yeah,
just
I
do
think-
that
I
Def
think now
Jam.
it's a little different just because of like media, but especially when I was like younger,
Yeah.
you know, there was the challenge of not letting that deter me, you know, because I was interested in it, you know, and I wanted to do it. And it was just, there was a lot of like, oh, why? Like, why are you writing poetry? That's weird, you know?
From other people.
Yeah, from other people. It was like either like there was like, oh, get out of here with that lovey-dovey stuff, you know what I mean? Or it's like, oh, why are you thinking about death? Like, you're weird, you know? It's like just, I mean, it's what I like to do, you know what I mean? So there was a lot of that, like trying to like not let people's judgment really affect me, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like if it was like criticism, like constructive criticism, of course, you know, like I would listen to it. But there's always that one person that just thinks that you're wasting your time,
Oh,
you know,
definitely. Yeah,
or like
that's,
that you should be doing something else, you know, like
practical.
yeah.
Something more practical.
Oh,
Right?
that's a trigger word for me,
yeah,
man.
yes.
Like do
like,
something
you'll
practical.
never
Like come
make
on, man. Like what's practical? Is happiness not practical? Like come on, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and I think right now, aside from like resources, you know, like trying to like being able to physically do the things you want to do, I think the hardest thing for me is I recently discovered that I didn't discover, but like I'm seeing myself in this sort of trend with my writing. You know, I revisit certain ideas a lot. You know, I'll even like use certain words a lot. You know, I've been called out on that, you know.
Yeah.
And that's really like a side effect of a bigger issue when you're trying to create something is your natural tendencies. You know, I tend to lean towards things like cosmic ideas, you know, stars, like black holes, you know, space, you know, and then like the ocean and the sky and like those kinds of things I keep going back to, you know, and trying to prevent myself from, in a sense, like not like tunnel vision, but, you know, I think trying to get away from places I've already been, you know, because that is like the amazing thing about art is like there is no wrong answer, you know. And what that really means is the goal is to go somewhere at least that you have never been before, you know?
Yeah.
And if you can find a place that nobody's been before, like that is amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's really hard as a person to try to find those things. Because how do you imagine something that's never been imagined? You know? Yeah. It takes a lot of just sitting and contemplating.
Substances.
Right? No, yeah. I mean, that is
any of that.
Me neither, but I have seen it happen. Like, but so recently, like in challenging that sort of like thought, like I found myself in this like infinite regression where it started off with like, why am I the way I am, you know, and then it became, you know, like maybe it's because of the things I love and the people I love and the people I'm around, and then it became, why do I love? You know, and at the end of it, I found myself with this unexpectedly profound appreciation for death, if that makes sense. And I'm excited about it because I hadn't really thought about it in this sense where death is really the motivator. You know what I mean? Like, we love things that live more than we love the non-living. You know what I mean? Like, we don't love the stones or the water in the ocean as much as we love the fish or the flower, you know? And it's because we know that they'll one day perish, you know? And we're the same way, you know what I mean? And realizing that, I don't know, kind of just, like, that to me, it's not like a new idea, but like going down that path, you know? Like, that has been my challenge, like, recently, is trying to find myself, you know, mentally, spiritually, in places that I haven't been before, because I keep going to the same places. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to elaborate a little more about that.
On death?
Well, your, you know, whole fascination with that.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Okay, so it started off with just like, I was questioning, why is it that we love? You know, like, why do we love at all? You know, and I realized that, of course, living things we love more, and we are living things, which means we understand our own impermanence, you know. And I think we all get to this point where you realize that the things in your life that will die before you do, you hang on to them a little tighter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like people who have pets, you know, like if you have older relatives, you know, you hang on to them so tightly because they're gonna pass, you know, and you're gonna be there to witness it, you know what I mean? And that makes it so profound, like the experience, because now you realize this limited window that you can experience that, you know. And then a step further, the fact that we are impermanent, the fact that we will die, from our perspective, when we die, everything dies, you know what I mean? The experience is over, that's it, no more chances, you know. So then you take with you what, like, let's say if there is an afterlife and you cannot go back to your life, then you'll just see all these things that you didn't get to experience, you know. And if there is no afterlife and you just perish and it's all nothingness, like trying to imagine what it's like before you were born, there's nothing there, you know. Like, if that's what it's like, then that's fine. Then that means that what matters is my living days, you know what I mean? And it's so limited, you know, that, you know, with everything that can and will eventually be gone, you know, that is only because the promise of death, you know what I mean? Like, imagine if we were all immortal, if nothing ever died, we would all eventually be on Ellen, you know what I mean? If we lived forever, we would all meet each other, we would have kissed every person, you know. And knowing that the eventuality of essentially infinity, like, nothing is exciting anymore, nothing is precious,
right?
You know. So I think the promise of that impermanence, the promise of everything eventually going away, is what allows us and motivates us to love, you know, each other, love things, objects, you know, wonder, you know, because we can only do it now.
Wow. Hella deep. Hella deep.
It's one of them shower thoughts.
You should have one of those. You should have a podcast, man. Seriously,
no, I'm here
have
now.
A podcast, yeah. And just talk about these things.
Right, do it
24/7, man.
just in the shower. Hey,
podcast in the shower, man.
Sounds dangerous, but doable.
Yeah. Cool. So, are you ready for the next one?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So, what are you currently working on that you're stoked about?
Oh, damn. Let's see. I'm working on the book that's supposed to follow the book that I came out with. It's right now the working title is A Bittersweet, and sweet as an SUITE. I'm kind of sticking with the whole like music theme.
Okay.
And the first book sort of follows this almost juvenile, unrefined journey of falling in love. Because love at first is always juvenile. It's chaotic. You know what I mean? And it's sort of just messy. And that's kind of what the first book about. And then the second book is supposed to be about the settling into things, into the eventual, it coming to an end. And so that book is more structured and more like, very like sonnet style, just because that's kind of how love becomes, Everything starts to become planned out. Everything starts to become squared off. Yeah. Which is not in itself a bad thing. It can be, depending on the people. And I'm definitely one of those people that like that kind of like becomes almost toxic, you know what I mean? Where
which part, like the whole regimen of
it becomes like a lot of the same, and it's like, I mean, it's not like I hate it, it just becomes one of those things that if it becomes like that, then it sort of falls in the back of my mind, you know what I mean? And which in the book it's sort of this story of wanting to make the effort, wanting so badly to fix something that looks broken when it's really not. You know what I mean? It's just complicated. Love is always complicated. It's simple, but it's complicated at the same time. It's two people that love each other. Simple as that. But what complicates it is that we're human, and we all need different things when it comes to love, and the way one person may express love may be a way that other person is unable to absorb that love, and that's when it gets really complicated. So that book is sort of like the settling in from something that seemed perfect to just suddenly being not,
Yeah, definitely. Can't wait for that one, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, it's kind of like, because there's a lot of personal stuff, that I was writing like as I was like, going through these things. And
is it hard to, like kind of put that out there?
I don't think so. I think it's a little scary, I've kind of gone past the idea that someone might not like my writing style, but I guess I'm still stuck because I grew up in the 90s, you know what I mean? Like masculinity was toxic, like you can't cry, you can't show pain, you're not allowed to frown, you gotta laugh at dumb things,
right?
So some of that is still integrated in me, so I'm still fearful of like exposing emotion, you know what I mean? Just a little bit, like when it comes to like my music, I think I shroud a lot of that fear with like rhythm and and singing. But when it's poetry, like that's like raw,
Kind of just like let yourself out there more.
Yeah, and it's like to show that I had become so vulnerable and so at some point disastrously like broken by one small little thing in my life, a passing love shatters me. Like that's crazy, and to expose yourself to show that we are that fragile, no matter who you are fragile, Yeah. And it really depends on the weapon. Like you can, to some people, like a nuclear blast to the chest will do nothing, but someone comes in with a pin and gets you in like a weak spot and you're just done. You know what I mean? Like I feel like that's how people are. Like it really depends on the weapon. It's not about how hard you get hit, it's about who hits you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And at least we're talking about love. I mean, of course, if Mike Tyson hit me in the face, like obviously, it don't matter what I'm wearing. You know what I mean? But when it comes to love, it's such a like complicated and delicate thing. And that book is, I'm trying to at least portray how something so simple can be so complicated and how fragile everybody is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, love is love. Like, you kind of just take what you can get, and then you learn from it, and then you move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah. And it's so sad. It's so sad because I feel like that's the nature of love. You know? I feel like if anything can break a person, it's love. You know? And because love is obviously like a byproduct of, like, when you ever like love something or someone so hard that it makes you kind of sad for no reason. You know what I mean? And I think there's like that weird like heaviness to love. And I think it's because we know that nothing is forever. You know what I mean? And that sort of like, I don't know, it brings the weakness out of people. You know what I mean? Well, I don't want to say weakness. It brings...
I mean, it can. I feel like it can. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's just, it's one of those things. And I feel like that is so scary to some people. Especially like today, we live in a society where like, you gotta be tough. You know, like, you gotta like not give a fuck. You know, if someone betrays you, fuck them, leave them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I get that. But you're forgetting that we are vulnerable people. You know? Yeah, it's making it sound like they're not allowed to be hurt. You know, you can get hurt by someone who was shitty to you. You know, they don't deserve your feelings, sure, but you can still be hurt. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's real. Like, people really get hurt.
Now, do you think we should show that though?
I think it's okay. I think if
in most cases, or
I don't know. I think it really depends. Like if it's
check on the camera because
there's
a 30-minute limit.
Okay, yeah.
I keep talking about.
Yeah, sure. As far as like when someone hurts you, I think it's okay to let people know that you're hurt. You know, maybe you don't want to give that other person the satisfaction. You know what I mean? And that's okay. But feeling pain is normal. You know?
Yeah.
Pain is just one of those things that I don't think it's just humans that feel pain, like emotional pain. You know, but it's definitely a human thing, like for us to feel pain and want other people around us when we're in pain. You know what I mean? So no matter who hurts you, if you're hurt, you're hurt. You know, even if they didn't deserve your love to begin with, you know, even if, you know, you knew from the start or whatever, like in the worst case scenario. But if you're hurt, you're hurt. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's just what love does to you.
Would you say it's like better to put yourself out there and experience love as opposed to not putting yourself out there and not being able to experience that?
I say, man, see, it's one of those things where your past loves shouldn't influence your next. You know what I mean? Like, if someone hurt you before, even if like the last 4 or 5 people hurt you in the exact same way, it's not like the next one is, you know? And I think if you want to have a life full of love, you have to expect that you are possibly going to be hurt a lot. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things that, like, everybody knows that. Everybody knows that love can destroy a person. You know, like, we all know that in the back of our, you know, back of our minds and our hearts. Yeah. You know, that you're putting yourself out there and it's dangerous, you know, because you don't want to get hurt. But I think being hurt by love is kind of a blessing. You know what I mean? It's definitely, to me, like, it's so inspiring. You know what I mean? Like, it makes me learn a lot about myself. You know, it makes me learn about how I love, how I want to be loved, who I want to be loved by. You know what I mean? And it definitely, you know, aside from if I get hurt by it, when you're in it, it does the same thing too. You know, like, it's just, an amazing feeling. It's a motivator. It's like just the purest connection between people. And I think that's what we all want. You know, that deep connection. And even if you have a connection with somebody, like, I think it's okay to, if someone isn't going to be like your forever, and you guys both acknowledge that you're each other's, at least for now, that's okay. You know? Yeah. I mean, we all have, everybody becomes a pit stop, a romantic pit stop or a lustful pit stop to somebody else. And you can be hurt by it. If, like, it catches you off guard, you can be hurt by it. You know what I mean? Like, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
But I think it's okay to, like, if both people are like, you know, I don't know if this will be a forever thing. It's like, okay, well, I have you for now. You know, you have me for now.
Yeah.
You know, and then we're right for now, and then we change, and then our lives need us to go somewhere else, and then you split. And that's kind of just how life is. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of the idea of having one person from beginning to end is so, one, romantic, you know, but absurd, you know, because that implies that you'll be perfect for each other forever, and that your changes, you know, two individuals changing in a way parallel to each other, meaning they'll be good forever. Like, that doesn't happen, you know. And when it does, like, when you see like old couples that are like in their 80s, like, oh, we've been dating since high school, everyone goes, oh my god, that's so amazing, you know. It's because we know it's rare, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not because, you know, people don't know how to love. It's people don't know how to interpret change, you know.
Yeah. And just throwing this out there, you know,
Sure.
Millennials.
What about
millennials?
Man, when I think about millennials, I think about like the stereotypes. You know what I mean? Like the avocado toast, joggers. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't even know what counts as a millennial. Am I a millennial? I don't even know, man. I mean, I'm wearing joggers, so.
84. If you're born in 84 and up.
I'm a millennial.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I was just throwing.
I think we're pretty cool. we're millennials are cool then. If I'm a millennial,
millennials are cool. Yeah.
No, I mean,
what I don't like about millennials is, or what I've seen from a lot of millennials is, in relationships, they don't, like, if they see any sort of hiccup in the relationship.
Oh, and they're gone.
They're gone.
That's so that's so outrageous to me. Like,
yeah, seriously.
Like, that is one, like, nobody's perfect. Period.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, absolutely nobody is perfect. You know, I'm, save for maybe Beyonce. You know, I mean, she's not perfect. I feel really terrible saying that out loud, but Beyonce is not perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How dare you?
How dare you? Pitchforks and torches. But you know what I mean? Like, nobody is perfect, and I think if you put those standards on somebody to expect them to be perfect, that's a lot of stress.
That's dangerous, man.
And it's toxic. You know what I mean? Because then it makes them feel like they're not allowed to make mistakes. You know, but mistakes are teachers. You know, exactly. Every time you fuck up, it makes you better. You know, unless you're like you don't realize you fucked up, then that's one thing. But like, our mistakes make us better. You know. And I feel like the point of a relationship isn't to have two perfect people find each other. It's about two people finding a path to becoming something kind of perfect, you know, together, you know, because life is a journey. There's no end game, you know, there is no finish line except, I hate saying it, death, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to think someone could be complete, and, you know, they are who they're going to be for the rest of their lives. You know, they shouldn't be needing to grow anymore because they're whatever age. Like, that's absurd. You know, like, people are going to still change even when they're 50, 60, you know. Yeah. They're going to learn more, and they're going to change. They're going to grow still. And to expect someone to be perfect in a relationship, it's just crazy. Like, if they make a mistake, let them make the mistake. Be there for them. Help them learn, you know. Like, tell them how you're feeling. Because talking about your feelings and what's going on is really what matters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't communicate, then
it might as well already be dead.
Yeah. You know, like, you just, in a relationship where you don't talk about your feelings and don't try to fix the problems, that's a relationship that is either going to always be bad, you know, and at least one person is always going to be felt like they're being betrayed or felt like they're being ignored, or it's one that just is fake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I've seen couples where they're just like, oh yeah, I love it. They don't really talk about anything, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna name anybody, but like, there's like those people that I feel like they're not really invested in each other, you know? And it kind of looks perfect, but it's not, you know what I mean?
On social media, so they'll post their shit on social
media. Yeah, for sure.
Perfect couple, you know, and then
yeah.
It's not really like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I feel like those people that, man, social media, man. That's a whole monster right there.
That's like a 2-hour podcast. Right
I know, right? That's like an 8-hour podcast.
Yeah.
2 hours just on Instagram.
Oh,
Oof.
Yeah. Well, if you want to elaborate more about that, feel free, man. Or we can move on to the next question, whatever you like. You know.
What was I at?
I talked about social media and how.
We were talking about love and relationships.
Love,
And see, okay, so at this point, I'm pretty sure you can tell that my two biggest motivators when it comes to writing, it's love and pain, you know, and death. You know, those things are the questions that there are no wrong answer for, no right answer for, you know, which means that you can have an infinite number of answers. But when it comes to like love between two people, I think the only thing that is required is understanding. You know, you need to be able to understand them and then be patient. Ask the questions, express yourself, allow them to express themselves, no judgment, you know?
Yeah.
And it's about growth, you know? It's about seeing each other's flaws, seeing each other make mistakes, and then, you know, being confident in them, loving them, and watching them get it right next time. You know what I mean? Because we'll be growing for the rest of our lives. We'll never be done. And I think, I don't know, social media like makes all these couples look really perfect, and I think it's, you know, do it for the gram. I've never seen a couple that was the way they are in real life as they are on social media. You know, like social media is definitely like a really, really bad measurement, you know, especially when I see like it's just not real.
Highlight reel.
Yeah, it's definitely a highlight reel for sure. Which is okay, you know, like if you want to have your highlight reel public, that's cool, you know, do what you do. But I think it's important that people understand that that is what it is. That's a highlight reel, you know, like, let's be honest, like relationships are tough, you know, like it's a lot of work, you know, and there are definitely people who are like, oh, it shouldn't be work if you love them. I get that, you know, I know what you're trying to say, but it's still a lot of work, you know, like you got to put in the effort to be there, like especially if like you're really different people.
Yeah.
You know, something that might be difficult for one might be easy for the other, and then watching them stumble and struggle might be like confusing, you know what I mean? Like, and okay, so when I was in a relationship with someone who has a family that is very different from mine, you know, like I'm not at all connected to my parents, you know, and they eat dinner together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like our problems were very different, you know, so there was a lot of taking the time to sort of like see life through each other's eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's definitely an experience. It's a learning experience for sure. But that's like what I mean, like two very different people. Like her issues, you know, the things that she would go through, I absolutely did not understand them. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure that it took her a while to understand what I was going through, because it was just really different. We grew up in very different worlds, you know? And there were times where like we would have like disagreements, you know, or we just wouldn't see eye to eye, you know?
Yeah.
And that would in turn kind of snowball into bigger issues. You know what I mean? But all we had to do was talk about it, you know? I had to not be afraid to talk about my feelings. She had to not be afraid to talk about her feelings, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
Not to make it all about that, you know?
Yeah. Not to make it all about like relationships.
Or,
it's all about relationships.
Or your own relationship.
Yeah. But I mean, I forgot where I was getting to. I think I just just blanked out and just
all good, man.
kept going.
You kept going.
Yeah.
We got the footage and everything, man. This is cool, man. You know, we're getting the insight from you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But if you want to elaborate more, feel free.
Or we can go to. I might come back to it. We can see what the next question is.
Okay, so then we went from talking about what you're stoked about as far as like your newest project that you're working on to work.
There is something. Okay, so
yeah.
I have this growing universe in my head. It's a story of a sort of like prophetic repeating story between, I don't want to like, because I have so many details. So basically it's a coming of age story between two brothers that happens again and again and again in history. And these stories connect in a way that is sort of an origin story of like magic and gods, you know. And my recent mental journey ending at death, you know, and that appreciation of death has a lot to do with this. You know, that to me, like, I now have like this idea of like the god of death not being feared but worshipped. You know what I mean? So aside from writing poetry and writing music, I am working on this chain of novels, you know, that are very, very lightly connected. They're all in the same universe and very lightly connected, you know, to each other. I reinvented magic. I reinvented the werewolf. That's a really big statement, but in my eyes, I did. You know. So that's coming.
Wow, man.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. Wow, I had a dream I was a werewolf. Oh my god. You know, it felt so real. So I'm really like excited to like sort of dive into this like mentally, and you know, I'm still like the whole universe is almost like it's pretty much done. It's just getting to like writing out the rest of the story, the details and everything.
Wow, when's the movie?
Give me 25 years.
25
get
years.
all the books done. You know, let it get like huge. Damn, 25 years? How old will I be?
Hey, let me know when you need a sound designer.
Oh yeah, for sure. Dude, imagine.
That's cool though, man.
Yeah, I'm excited. So yeah, there's that. That's something I'm excited about. And then of course there's the writing and the music. That's always happening. You know, I just finished a song yesterday, and then I think I finished before that a song about 2-3 weeks before that.
Do you have any samples for the listeners?
Should I play something?
Yeah.
All right.
This is your time to shine.
Yeah.
Man.
Let me grab my guitar.
Cool. I'll go ahead and plug it into one of these ports. Actually, you're gonna play it live.
Yeah.
Okay. Even better, man. Even better.
And because I don't have a pickup, or I mean like.
Yeah, we can do live, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll kind of have the mic pointed out this way.
There you go.
It's not gonna capture everything, but it's good enough.
This is a song called Love Simulator 2018. That's not how it goes.
Okay.
Up in the ocean, more than the ocean's been me, and I've been a falling sky, more than I'd let you believe. I've seen a place that holds all the darkest of things, but I'd go again. Oh, if that's where you'll be. Misery needs company. I know what's on your mind when you're reaching out for me. Misery needs company. And I don't mind pretending to be what you need, 'cause I don't wanna be alone tonight. So let's get together now, take love by the horns and move on. There we go.
Wow, that was awesome.
Thank you.
That was awesome, man.
Thanks.
First time in my life in audio engineering history have we ever had a live performance with a guitar.
Oh, really?
You're the first one.
Oh.
Yeah, you're the first one, dude. That's awesome.
That's tight.
All right, 1 second. I'm gonna check on the camera. Right?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
And I'm gonna check. Ooh. Almost threw my phone across the room.
I wish they didn't have that limit on video footage.
I know. I wanted to get one of those cameras, and I saw there was a 30-minute limit. I was kind of
That's like
interesting.
most
Why do they do that?
DSLRs, though.
Oh wait, it's because
file
it was.
sizes.
I read something that it's not marketing, but since it is like a camera, if they have it go longer than 30 minutes, they technically have to classify it as a video camera.
Oh, yeah,
Something like that, right?
That's part of it.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
part of it, yeah. I think the other one is just like file sizes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if they're like 1080p 60.
They
Huge
have,
file sizes.
I saw one camera that surpassed that whole 30-minute mark.
Oh really?
Yeah, limitation. I forget what it is. Extremely expensive.
Damn.
One of these days, I'll get it.
One of these days,
One
yeah,
of
yeah.
these days, maybe like 3 years, 4 years from now. Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah. So I have to keep going back and forth. It's a pain in the ass. But,
All right. No, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you do what you gotta do. You know.
yeah, I'm gonna cut that out. It's a mental reminder.
Yeah.
So. Anyways, okay.
All right.
Wow, that was awesome, man.
Thank
that
you.
was awesome.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. And yeah, I wish I had a way to actually mic that whole thing up, man,
Mhm.
properly.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
mean, I've been wanting to get pickups put on that, but I think I'm just gonna, cause I don't want to like touch. This is one that's my first guitar, the one that I got as a gift and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so I'm
man.
probably just gonna get a new one for my cousin. I'll probably buy one of his or something.
Well, you
Yeah.
know what? Yeah, I don't know if you've seen those, screw-on pickups. Is that what you're talking about?
I think so.
I forget what the manufacturer is, but you could actually put it under,
Mhm.
that sound hole.
Yeah.
Screw it on, and then you could easily take it off if you want to. It doesn't like modify the guitar anyway. You don't have to make any holes in it, or it's pretty sick.
Like you don't have to put holes.
You don't have to put holes. No. It just
Okay.
clamps on.
That's tight.
I'll take a picture. I'll send it to you, man. I'll show you
Okay,
what I'm
for
talking
sure.
about. Yeah.
That's tight. Oh dang.
Yeah.
Game changer. Dang.
It's pretty good, man. The quality.
See you at Coachella next year. I was like,
Have you been?
I have not been to Coachella,
Same here.
dude. I heard it's crazy.
What do you think about it? Do you want to have that experience at Coachella, or?
You know, at first I didn't think I wanted it.
Yeah.
And then my friend went to Coachella last year or the year before and was telling me all these stories. Substance-induced stories. But aside from that, like he...
Those are the best kind. No, I'm just kidding.
Right? I mean, those are probably the most extreme experiences.
Yeah.
But to at least... When I saw the set list... Not the set list, like the... I guess the set... What is it? Lineup. There you go.
Lineup.
When I saw the lineup for this year, especially having heard that Childish Gambino
Yeah.
was going to retire Childish Gambino, which either means he's changing his name or he's not doing music anymore. Seeing him that he's going to be there, and Billie Eilish, and there was a few more. Tame Impala, I think, is going to be there.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, I wanted to go. You know what I mean? Like when I heard about, especially Childish Gambino retiring that, and then seeing that he was going to be at Coachella, I was like, oh man, this could be like the performance of his life. You know what I mean? Well, maybe not, but it might be the last one. You know what I mean? So that made me want to go. But
That's going on this week, right? Or
Is
next
it?
week? I forget.
I have no idea. It might be. Well, it's starting this weekend.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, today. It might be.
Today's
Shit,
Friday,
no.
right?
Yeah, today's
Yeah. I think it's tomorrow, man.
something like that. Yeah. I have no idea.
Whatever.
Whatever.
I live under a rock. I literally just like dive into my creative endeavors and.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Brian Wilson. Yeah, for sure.
It's all good, man. But okay, cool, man. Coachella. If you guys are going, fuck yeah.
Take
That's
pictures.
cool.
Let me know.
Take pictures.
Picture didn't happen.
Exactly. All right. So moving on to next one. You ready? Dude?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what advice would you tell yourself if you can go back in time? Whether it's a creative tip or anything like that, personal.
Dang. So I wrote this song a long time ago that was, when you graduate, they say, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
That great
Right?
question, yeah.
Yeah. So last year, it was 10 years after I graduated. So I was like, oh my God, I'm the version of me that is the 10 years later,
Yeah.
And then I was wondering, like, okay, when I was 18, if I could have asked my future self something, what would I have asked? I'm like, okay, now what would my answer have been? And the answer I gave myself was move on over for the Riptide. And in all sense, like, I am the Riptide and everything else is the Riptide, you know what I mean? And to fight it, the way I meant it was that there were these parts of me that wanted to go, wanted to move, wanted to be free, and I fought it. You know what I mean? I listened to the do something practical. I listened to, like, oh, the chances are slim. So I fought that desire and I tried to be something else. And I think that was the mistake that I made because I was so, I don't want to, maybe unhappy, like I wasn't sad. I wasn't like upset by anything. I was just sort of there, just existing for a while, because I didn't allow myself to indulge in those I want to say needs, because I needed to write. I needed to be in music. I needed to like invest myself emotionally, not just like go through the motions of it, but I needed to be invested emotionally, and I think there was a lot of time growing up, even all throughout high school, having to hear, do something practical. Like, don't you want to like make money? You know what I mean?
From an older.
Yeah, definitely. Like
adults, right?
Yeah, and then then you always have like that one uncle that's like, you're doing so good, and it's like, fuck yeah, you know what I mean? But like the majority isn't like that, and it's unfortunate. But I feel like growing up there was a lot of me resisting myself, trying to contain everything, and even like just that led to me sort of containing myself as a whole, not just the creative part, but sort of resisting, because of maybe fear of being viewed a certain way. You know what I mean? Like now, you can see I paint my nails now. You know what I mean? And like when I first painted it, it was just sort of like, I don't know, it was on a whim. I just fuck it, And then when I realized that I was sort of challenging my own ideas of masculinity, and then seeing the way it was challenging everybody else's ideas, the people around me, they'd ask me like, why do you paint your nails, and I really don't know why. I just do it, and I don't know, I just like it, you know what I mean? And when I realized that there were more and more boundaries that I kept setting on myself, that were restricting me, so my ideas of like who I should be as a man, you know what I mean? Who I should be as like a creator, as a brother, as a person, I think there was a lot of holding all that in growing up. So move over for the Riptide, the one, this one, and just let go of that fear and stop hiding and just fucking do it, don't be afraid to fail. Failure is tight. Failing is so sick, because like, because like there's one thing about like finding out, if someone tells you that this is the wrong way to do it, you're like, fuck you, but if you do it and find out that it's wrong by fucking up, that is so much more effective. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing like getting something wrong that helps you get it right.
Because you're verifying with yourself.
That
it's wrong and not taking anybody's word for it.
Yeah, exactly. Being able to experience that on your own, that is the most valuable experience,
Exactly, yeah.
Fuck secondary and tertiary experiences. I don't want to do it. I don't want to fuck up, you know what I mean? I want my own mistakes. So just go for it. That's what I would tell myself.
Cool, man. That's cool. All right, move on to the next one, man. You ready for this?
I hope so.
Oh, man. Where are we at?
Oh,
wait, I see.
Advice that I would tell myself or give myself.
Okay, so what advice or words of wisdom would you give to other creatives in your field?
So people doing music and like writing. Oh man, I feel like I could use some advice from them. You know what I mean? I mean, we're all a community. You know what I mean? Like there's always something to learn from someone. You know, for sure. Like, you know, reach out to people. Don't be afraid to take criticism.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to offer insight. You know, and also don't be afraid to just go somewhere spiritually, mentally, emotionally. That you have, if you've been afraid to go somewhere emotionally, that's where you're supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's the place you haven't been yet. You know, if it scares you, then go there. You know, because that's where you should be. Or if you think you shouldn't be there, go there too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like anything that feels comfortable in your writing, it means you've been there before. You know, and that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to stay there, but I feel like to sort of push yourself and get that rush as a writer or a singer, you know, it's about finding new paths. It's about, you know, especially if like you're writing like lyrics, you know,
Yeah.
or if you're writing poetry, finding connections between in places that you never thought that you would. You know what I mean? Like this is a funny story. So I struggle with
Struggle.
struggle.
He invented a new word today.
Struggle. I don't know what it's combined with, but I struggle with finding new sources of inspiration, right? But when it comes, it hits. You know what I mean? And it's always something really strange, really boring that my mind just sort of takes control over and turns it into something else.
Yeah.
And I think allowing yourself that mental freedom is really important. Like, there was this time I went to the beach, right? And when I was at the beach, I was holding a bonfire pit for my sister. And while I was there, I was looking up at the sky, and I was looking at the ocean. You know what I mean? And I was thinking about that question people ask, like, why is the sky blue? And like, oh, because the ocean's blue. It's like, no, it's actually the other way around. The sky is blue, then the ocean's blue. You know what I mean? This ocean reflects the sky. And then I had this thought, why is sky blue and ocean blue different? You know what I mean? Like, we all accept that they're different colors. You know what I mean? And then that thought then evolved into wondering what happened to the blue for the sky to offer something that's sky blue, for the ocean to carry it with this like deep sorrow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm like flexing right now, but like, you know what I mean? Like it's about finding inspiration in weird places, you know, in everything, you know, just allowing yourself to be moved, you know, allowing yourself to absorb, even if it's a meaning that you invented, you know, that's only existing for you. Absorb it, you know, like just because like it's not a meaning that is universal, like with a rose, like there's like this well accepted meaning with a rose. It's like romantic, whatever, right? But if you find something treacherous in it, if you find something that is more akin to betrayal in a rose, absorb that, you know, like let that inspire you, let that take over you, like let yourself feel those things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think being open to those things, being open to being moved, being inspired by even the strangest things or even the most boring things, you know, like that's what really pushes people to write, I think, you know. So I mean, there's love, there's death, but then there's sand, you know what I mean? Then there's, I don't know, cobblestone roads, you know, and I'm sure someone can find something beautiful in that, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think this, giving yourself that freedom, like don't restrict yourself, and if you find yourself restricting yourself somehow, just go to that place, you know. It's like, fuck it, I'm going there, and that's it. I think that's the advice I'd give.
Cool. You heard that, folks?
Yeah. Essentially, TLDR, fuck it.
What's up?
TLDR, fuck it. Just do it. That's pretty much what I'm saying. You know, like, just do it. Like, too long didn't read.
Oh.
It was, you know, when you see someone, like, post a whole thing, and it's like TLDR.
That's a Reddit thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I just outed myself as a Redditor.
That's okay.
So there you go.
Oh man. All right. So we're getting down to the last two questions, man.
Sure.
Where can everyone find you on social media?
Ooh, okay. So I have I have a YouTube channel. It's Andrew-Nathain, Anathain. And I also have an Instagram, which is the same thing, but I also have a poetry Instagram that is connected to it, where I sort of just like throw snippets of things that I've written before. And it's Anat Poetry, A-N-A-T Poetry. So that's where I post like little poetry snippets, and occasionally I'll put like spoken word. And on my YouTube channel is where I do like music and stuff. Oh, and I do have a SoundCloud, which is also Andrew-Nathain, Anathain.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so if you just search Andrew-Nathain on anything, you'll probably find me. And that's where I'm at.
Cool. All right, man. Anything else you want to plug?
Watch my SoundCloud, Andrew-Nathain. Just that in particular, because the things that I think that I've been like working on right now are pretty much all going to be on my SoundCloud.
Cool.
I don't think I have any. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. I don't know. Add me on Xbox. No, I'm just kidding.
Xbox. Okay. What's your gamer tag, man?
Andrew-Nathain. It actually is Andrew-Nathain. That's
Really?
so funny. Yeah. I use Andrew-Nathain for everything because it's never taken. You know, A from Andrew-Nathain, and it's just always available.
I wish that was a thing for me, dude. I always have to change it, dude.
Right, add a number and then put like
Yeah.
a lowercase x underscore something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, no.
All right, man. I think that's all the questions. Yeah, that's definitely all the
For sure.
questions I have. We're gonna do an improv song, closing song.
Okay, on this?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Did I do that? You wanna go ahead and sing, and I'll just.
Oh,
Mess
you
with
here?
that.
Here you go.
Yeah. All right.
All right, let's see what happens. I don't know if I'll be able to like make any words, but okay. I feel like I should be rapping, but I can't rap.
Yeah, you just give it a try, man.
Wait, should I? I feel like grabbing the guitar.
Yeah. Oh, we can do that. Yeah. Yeah, I'll take all the instruments out. So just do,
Well, let's see if I-
you want to do that.
Okay, yeah, keep that there. If I
Yeah.
put this here.
Yeah.
Let's see, what do I got?
I could also change it to like hip hop, sounds. I already like that already. That's cool.
My focus is so like
On the guitar.
yeah.
I'll just
See what I have. Cause okay. How could an angel be casting a gaze my way? You and I both know that this is crazy, but you and I both know that we can't go another day without you and I, yeah. You and I, yeah. Said you and I know that you and I go like the blues in the sky. Clouds way up high, mountains and the snow caps, but you already know that, yeah. You and I, yeah. You and I, yeah. Said you and I know that you and I belong together. You and I, you and I, yeah. I can't freestyle.
That's all good. Just keep playing that. I'm just gonna add my sing it along. This is the end of the song. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.